In this lesson, we're going to focus on the customary units of length that we use here in the United States. So all of the units of length hopefully should be very familiar to you: feet, inches, yards, miles, etc. And so what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about how to convert between two by using a unit ratio. So a unit ratio is going to help us go from one to another. So as you can see, I have 1,200 feet and I'm trying to figure out how many yards is that. So whenever I'm looking to convert, I want to multiply it by a fraction, which is a ratio. And I want the denominator of that ratio to be the unit that I'm coming from, and I want the numerator of that ratio to be the unit that I'm trying to go into. So in this case, if I had 1,200 feet times 1 yard per 3 feet, notice if this is a fraction, the feet just end up canceling out because one is on top and one is on bottom, and I'm left with how many yards. The numbers that I'm using here come from the length that I can equate. So I know that a yard is equal to 3 feet, so 1 yard to 3 feet is the ratio that I used, and then of course we would just multiply. When we multiply, the feet would cancel out. I would get 1,200 times 1 divided by 3, which is 400, and notice I've labeled it there in yards. Let's try a couple of conversions together. So if I'm converting from 4 miles into feet, then I know that I want to use whichever line has miles and feet equated. So here I know that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So I'm going to start with my 4 miles. And to multiply, remember, I want miles to go on the bottom and I want feet to go on the top. So 5,280 feet per 1 mile. Remember, if I'm multiplying that, those miles will cancel, and then I'm left with 4 times 5,280. So we know we're either going to be multiplying or dividing in this case. When I multiply those values, I get 21,120 feet. Let's try another one. 72 inches into feet. Again, I'm looking for inches and feet being equated. So 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Hopefully we all know that. So 72 inches, if I'm multiplying that by something, I need inches as the denominator and feet as the numerator. And I know there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So really I'm taking 72 times 1 divided by 12, and I should get 6 feet. So if you're 6 feet tall, like me, you're 72 inches tall. 20 feet into yards. Again, I've got 20 feet. I'm multiplying it by 1 yard and 3 feet. Remember that feet are going to go on the bottom. So 3 feet here, 1 yard here. So 20 times 1 divided by 3. Typically, we could leave this as 20 thirds because we know that when we take 20 divided by 3, that we're not going to end up with a nice whole number. We might also write that as a mixed number, so 3 goes into 26 times with 2 thirds left over. And the last one, I have 2,640 feet to how many miles? Again, feet to miles, we've done one like this already, except in this case, I'm given feet, and so I'm going to write 1 mile over 5,280 feet. And, whoops, forgot to label feet. And then I would multiply 2640 times 1 divided by 5280, and it turns out that I get 1/2, or of course you could write that as 0.5, so 0.5 mile or 1/2 of a mile. For the next two examples, we're going to actually have to work a little bit harder. So here I have 3 yards into inches. So if you'll notice on my table, I don't have anything that converts yards to inches. I have yards to feet and I have feet to inches, and so I'm going to have to take the long way. I'm going to start with yards. So I know that for yards and feet, I need yards to go on the bottom and feet to go on the top. And then just as before, I really need inches to be on the top, so I need it to be feet on the bottom and inches on the top. So there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So watch what's going to happen. Yards will cancel, feet will cancel, and then I will just multiply and divide whatever I need to. So 3 times 3 is 9. divided by 1, still 9. 9 times 12 is 108. And of course, divided by 1 is still 108. And notice I'm left with inches, so it's 108 inches. Same thing here, I'm going from inches to miles. I have feet to miles. I have inches to feet, so I'm going to have to go in that way. So 15,840 inches, we're wondering how many miles is that? When I multiply, remember I need inches down here so that it will cancel. So, and I need feet on top because I know that feet are going to go into miles. So it's going to look like that. So I know that there's 12 inches in 1 foot, and there's 1 mile per 5,280 feet. And so then I will just, in this case, I'm going to be doing a lot of dividing. So 15,840 times 1 divided by 12. When I multiply or divide those, I get 1,320. Then I multiply by 1, divide by 5,280 feet, and as a decimal, I get 0.25, so a quarter of a mile. So if we had 15,840 inches, we have a quarter of a mile. Sometimes we're asked to add or subtract units of length as well, especially in construction projects. So here, if I'm adding 3 feet 7 inches to 9 feet 8 inches, remember we're just combining feet with feet and inches with inches. In this case, 9 plus 3 is 12, and 8 plus 7 is 15. But we all know that there are 12 inches in a foot, and so this 15 is going to end up as 1 foot with 3 inches left over. But I already have 12 feet, so now I have 13 feet with 3 inches left over. And of course, I could write that as 13 foot 3 inches. Same thing with subtraction. If I have 9 foot 2 inches and 1 foot 11 inches, I'm going to subtract, but again, I can't take 11 away from 2, but I can borrow. So I'm going to borrow from my 9 feet to make it 8 feet, and we know that there are 12 inches in a foot. So instead of 2 inches, I now have 14 inches because I have 12 plus 2. So don't just put a 1 in front of it because that's what we're used to. Remember, there are 12 inches in a foot. So now 14 minus 11 gives me 3. And 8 minus 1 gives me 7. So I have 7 feet 3 inches. Here's one of each for you to try. So try all 3, then press play to see how you did. The first one, feet into inches. I have 1.5 feet. I'm multiplying it by that unit conversion factor. Feet to inches, I'm going to use 12 inches to 1 foot. So really I'm taking 1.5 times 12, which is of course 18 inches. Here I have 1/8 of a mile, and I'm turning it into inches. So it might be easier to make that 1/8 0.125 miles. And I'm trying to turn it into inches, and I know that I can't go straight to inches, but I can go into feet. And so I can say in 1 mile is 5,280 feet. And then I'm going into inches. So inches need to be here and feet need to be here. And there's 1 foot in 12 inches. Notice the miles would cancel, the feet would cancel, and I'm left with inches only. And then I just have to multiply. And I end up with 8,730 inches. Adding or subtracting the length, here I have 8 foot 2 inches. I'm adding just 10 inches, so I'm not adding any feet to that, which gives me 8 feet 12 inches. But I know that 12 inches is the same as a foot, so this is going to turn into 1 foot, and so my answer is 9 feet.